Ever wondered how crucial water is in survival situations, especially in urban areas? The human body can last weeks without food, but only a few days without water. In the hustle and bustle of the concrete jungle, finding clean, safe water can become a daunting task. Whether it's due to a natural disaster or other crisis, urban environments can quickly become a desert, where the oasis is not sand-surrounded water, but rather a safe, potable source hidden amidst the towering structures. From public fountains to rainwater collection systems, even commercial buildings, our cities are peppered with potential water sources. But not all water is created equal. Knowing how to identify safe sources and, more importantly, how to purify the not-so-safe ones can be a lifesaver. Knowing where to find water and how to purify it could be the difference between life and death in a survival situation. In a city, finding a reliable water source can be tricky. Let's demystify that. Now, you may think, water in the city, that's an oxymoron. But you'll be surprised at the number of potential water sources around you. Yes, even in the concrete jungle. First, let's talk about public fountains. These are common in parks, plazas, and other public spaces. They're designed to supply potable water, but remember, in a crisis, they might not be maintained. You'll want to purify this water before drinking. Next up, rainwater collection systems. These are becoming increasingly popular in urban areas as a sustainable water source. If you come across a building with one of these systems, it could be a goldmine. But again, treat this water before drinking, as it might have been exposed to pollutants. Moving on, we have commercial buildings. These are often equipped with large water tanks or cooling systems that store water. In a pinch, this could be your lifeline. But keep in mind that this water may have been sitting stagnant for a while and could be contaminated. Lastly, don't forget about fire hydrants. They're a city staple and can provide a large amount of water. However, opening a hydrant should be your last resort. It's technically illegal and can cause water pressure issues for the entire block. If you must resort to this, be sure to purify the water thoroughly. Now let's talk about safety. Always assess a potential water source before you consume. Look for clear, odorless water. If the water is cloudy or has a strong smell, it's a good indication that it's not safe to drink, even after purification. And remember, never drink water that you suspect may be contaminated with chemicals or heavy metals. No amount of boiling or filtering will make that safe. So, there you have it. Urban environments may not have a bubbling brook around every corner, but with a keen eye and a little ingenuity, you can find water in the most unexpected places. Remember, not all water sources are safe. Always assess before you consume. Once you've found a source, the next step is purifying that water. Here's how. Let's start with boiling. It's one of the simplest and most effective ways to kill bacteria and parasites. You just need a heat source, like a fire or a stove, and a container, like a pot or a can. Bring the water to a rolling boil and keep it there for at least 1 minute. If you're above 5,000 feet, make that 3 minutes. The downside? This method doesn't remove chemicals or particles. Next up, chemical purification. This involves adding a chemical, typically iodine or chlorine, to the water. These chemicals kill most bacteria and viruses, and they're lightweight and easy to carry. But they do have a few drawbacks. They take time to work, they can leave an unpleasant taste, and they're not effective against some parasites. Now let's talk about portable filters. These handy devices physically remove bacteria, parasites, and often chemicals too. They're great for on-the-go purification, but they do require regular cleaning, and eventually the filters need replacing. There's also ultraviolet light purifiers. These gadgets use UV light to kill viruses, bacteria, and parasites. They're quick and easy to use, but they do require batteries, and they don't work well in murky water. Lastly, we have distillation. This involves boiling water and collecting the steam, which condenses back into water. It's the only method that removes salt, making it ideal for desalinating seawater. But it's also the most time-consuming and energy-intensive method. Each method has its place, and knowing which one to use when can be a lifesaver. Boiling is best when you have a reliable heat source. Chemicals are great for lightweight, long-term storage. Portable filters are perfect for on-the-move purification. UV light purifiers are ideal when you have access to clear water and a power source. And distillation is your go-to for desalinating water or when all other methods fail. Remember, safe water is crucial for survival, especially in an urban environment. So, arm yourself with knowledge and stay prepared. Each method has its place, and knowing which one to use when can be a lifesaver. Don't have access to traditional purification methods? No problem. We're about to dive into the world of DIY water purification solutions. When the usual methods aren't in reach, a little creativity and resourcefulness can go a long way. Let's start with the basics. One of the simplest and most accessible means of water purification is boiling. If you have access to a heat source and a container that can withstand the heat, you're in business. Fill your container with water, bring it to a boil, and let it bubble away for a solid minute. This will kill most bacteria, viruses, and parasites. But what if you don't have a heat source? That's where the sun comes in. Solar disinfection, or SODIS, is a method that involves filling a clear plastic bottle with water and leaving it in direct sunlight for a minimum of 6 hours. The sun's UV rays work to kill harmful pathogens. Now, if you're in a situation where clear plastic bottles aren't around, don't fret. You can fashion a crude water filter with a few common items. All you need is a container like a plastic bottle or a tin can, some pebbles, sand, and a piece of cloth. Layer these materials in your container with the cloth at the top. Pour your water through this makeshift filter, and it will help remove larger impurities. Another DIY method is using bleach. Yes, you heard that right. Household bleach can be used to purify water in a pinch. For every 1 gallon of water, you'll want to add about 8 drops of bleach. Stir it up and let it sit for at least 30 minutes before drinking. Remember, none of these DIY methods are foolproof, and some may not eliminate all types of contaminants. But in a survival situation, they can certainly increase your chances of staying hydrated with safer water. Remember, in a survival situation, being adaptable and resourceful is key. These DIY solutions are all about using what's available to you to overcome challenges, so keep an open mind, stay creative, and most importantly, stay hydrated. You've got clean water. Now, how do you store it safely? Storing purified water correctly is just as crucial as the purification process itself. When water is improperly stored, it can become contaminated again, nullifying all your diligent work. So let's dive into the best practices for safely storing purified water in an urban environment. First, let's talk about the containers. It's best to store your water in a food-grade water storage container. These are designed specifically for water storage, and they're made from materials that won't break down or leach harmful substances into your water over time. Now, you might be wondering, can I use any plastic container? Well, while it's tempting to reuse juice or milk jugs, they're not the best choice. They can harbor bacteria and it's difficult to clean them thoroughly. Plus, the plastic can degrade over time. A much better choice is a container that's sturdy, reusable, and intended for long-term storage, like a food-grade plastic or stainless steel water container. When filling your container, it's a good idea to leave a bit of space at the top. This is called head space, and it allows for the water to expand if it freezes. This little trick could save your container from cracking or bursting in cold conditions. And what about location? Well, the ideal storage spot is cool and dark. Exposure to sunlight and heat can degrade the container over time and encourage the growth of algae and bacteria. So a basement, cellar, or even a shaded corner of your apartment can be great choices. Keep in mind, even stored water has a shelf life. As a rule of thumb, it's good to rotate your water every 6 months. This means using what you've stored, cleaning your containers, and refilling them with fresh, purified water. Remember, these are just recommendations. Your storage solutions may vary based on your circumstances, but the key is to prioritize safety and cleanliness. Proper storage ensures your hard-earned clean water stays that way. So keep your water safe, and it'll keep you safe in return. Water procurement and purification. It's a survival skill that's worth its weight in gold. Today we've journeyed through the urban jungle, identifying safe water sources, learning about various purification methods, and even crafting our own DIY solutions. We've also discussed best practices for storing that precious purified water. But remember, knowledge is only power when it's applied. So I encourage you to practice these skills, to become familiar with your city's water sources, and to prepare for the unexpected. And hey, we're all in this together. If you've got your own tips or experiences, why not share them in the comments below? We can all learn from each other. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more practical survival tips in our upcoming episodes. Until next time, stay hydrated and stay prepared.